What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. With that being said, man, we got a gambling scheme that was just uncovered by the FBI. Two players from the Cleveland Guardians got caught up in this and was indicted. And with this gambling, man, like once the guys got caught in the NBA. Chauncey Billups, what's the other guy? Damon Jones. And people were saying that, it's not going to end there. A lot of people saying, well, watch out for the NFL next. Now we have this going on, like I said, with Major League Baseball, two of these guys got indicted with the prop bet situation, right? So evidently people were making prop bets on certain, pitches that these guys was throwing when they would throw. Like they would throw like a ball on their first pitch of a certain inning, and somebody would bet on. Now I don't see why they don't think that like this would raise a red flag. Like if I say I'm going to throw the ball, or I'm going to hit the batter in the seventh inning, and the first or the second batter in the seventh inning, and the second batter in the seventh inning get hit. Of course, that's going to raise red flags. We like, how you know in advance that the batter in the seventh inning is going to get hit, and so they just they just made it so obvious, and they should have known that because it was so obvious that they were going to raise red flags. And for these guys, these pitchers to be doing this for like $12,000, $7,000, like small amounts of cash when they making millions. I don't get it. I don't really understand, but I do think that this gambling is probably going is here to stay. Like these kind of gambling issues, in my opinion, as long as you have legalized gambling, these kind of situations, people are always going to try to make money. I think it's here to stay. But with that being said, I want to listen to what they had to say on ESPN about this, and then I'm gonna come back and give some of my commentary.
We've seen recently in the NBA, the intersection of sports and gambling is more fraught and susceptible to scandal than ever. And now this from Major League Baseball. Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz have been charged with fraud, conspiracy, and rigging pitches. Prosecutors said in the indictment that Clase and Ortiz threw specific pitches for balls so bettors could place prop bets and profit. Both pitchers have been on paid leave while MLB investigated. Ortiz was arrested by the FBI Sunday morning in Boston. He will appear in court on Monday. Clase was not in custody as of Sunday afternoon. U.S. Attorney Joseph DeSella said in a statement, the defendants deprived the Cleveland Guardians and Major League Baseball of their honest services. They defrauded the online betting platforms where the bets were placed, and they betrayed America's pastime. Integrity, honesty, and fair play are part of the DNA of professional sports. When corruption infiltrates the sport, it brings disgrace not only to the participants, but damages the public trust in an institution that is vital and dear to all of us. Our baseball insider, Jeff.
All right, so and all right, he made a good point, right? When the commentator said that it damages public trust, and that's one thing about sports. Like when you talk about professional sports, I think because some of the people who gamble, they probably still gonna bet on these sports because they think that they got an inside handle or they know what's going on and stuff like that. Even if they think it's rigged, right? I think some people still bet. But on the other hand, I think it's a bad decision for the to have this type of image for professional sports, because you do want to protect that integrity, right? And so, with that being said, what's going to happen is somebody is going to go to prison for a long time and have their life. One of these players, had their life really turned upside down because professional sports is going to try to make an example of people, and they're going to try to say that if you get caught up in this, you're going to do significant time in prison. And right now is you don't want to be one of the guys who get caught up in these gambling scandals, because they are looking to make an example of somebody. And I think that's what's going to happen real soon. But let me get back to some more of this audio so I can hear some more about what's going on and comment on it.
And joins us now. So, Jeff, when a baseball legend like Pete Rose gets a lifetime ban for merely betting on baseball, that's one thing. But now the feds are involved. What could the punishment be for Clase and Ortiz if it's found they actually manipulated their performance for gamblers?
David, prosecutors charged the pair with 4 charges each. And if you add up the potential sentences of those charges, they could be facing up to 65 years in prison. Now, nobody is expecting that to be the ultimate punishment, but it shows the severity of this case and just how seriously the Eastern District of New York, which remember was also involved in the indictments unsealed last week against the NBA, Terry Rozier, and some assistant coaches as well. They're taking it extraordinarily seriously because I think they understand, just as Major League Baseball does, this is about the integrity of the sport. And Major League Baseball, if they are found guilty, very likely would levy lifetime bans against them, as they did against Pete Rose and have done against others.
It does feel like we're reporting on.
So look, when they went up, they levied that lifetime ban on Pete Rose, and a lot of people thought that was like over the top. And Pete Rose did say that he just bet he just bet that his team would win. So, and how he bet, like you don't have any way of confirming that. Maybe he did bet against his team, or maybe he didn't. But when you mess with the integrity of these sports, then people would, it's going to affect the game overall. People, even if you're not betting, people already say certain football games are rigged. Like the league want to see a certain team win. In the NBA, they want to see a certain team win. Then you have referees in the NBA who said that they were, they wasn't told to rig the game, but they were told to like make certain call certain moves that players would do. So that, in my opinion, I think all of these major league sports are trying to protect the integrity of leagues and games that really, in my opinion, don't have any integrity. Right. And I say that because it's okay for the league to tamper with or do certain things to affect the outcome of a game. But like when players do it, now the players are vilified. For instance, the league will take, like I said, they will go down to the referees or the officials and say, well, I want you to start calling this play. When a player do this play, he make this move, I want you to start calling that. And that will put that player at a disadvantage, so that is okay. And I think some players may see it like that. I even hear players say about the NBA, like in certain games and championship games, you have to make sure that you win by like 15 or 20 points because you can't trust the referees. And if that's coming from players, on multiple occasions, then in my opinion, I think there's some truth to it. So I think that there's not integrity at the top. And I think that trickles down to the players, but only when the players are fool with the integrity of the game, then they want to penalize the players and stuff like that. And so I don't know. I just think that like I said, they're going to make an example of somebody. I don't know if it's going to be these two guys, but somebody at the NFL, at the Major League Baseball and the NBA level, somebody's going to, they're going to make an example of them.
I think more and more often, you mentioned baseball and the integrity of the sport and all that's concerned. How would you characterize the level of concern right now with Rob Manfred and baseball in general?
David, I asked him that question during the World Series because let's not forget, it's not just Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. Pat Hoberg, one of the best umpires in Major League Baseball, did not gamble on baseball, but somebody under one of his accounts did. and Hoberg was fired. Tucupita Marcano last year, an infielder for the San Diego Padres, was handed a lifetime ban for placing nearly 400 bets on Major League Baseball. And when I asked Manfred this question, he essentially said, we did not legalize gambling, but we have to be involved. We have to be partners with these companies because of the betting integrity services that they provide. And because if gambling is going to be legal around the country and is going to be legal in any number of states, we want to know situations like this that are happening. In the indictment today, it did say Emmanuel Clase started this scheme allegedly back in May of 2023.
Wow. So if they started their scheme back in 2023, who's to tell like when the FBI became aware of it, and then how much, like how long the FBI watched this go on, how many games was affected by this, you know? And then on top of that, like I said, to protect the integrity, they are going to really throw some heavy time at some of these guys, and their lives are really going to be messed up. And gambling is such an addiction. In my opinion, though, I don't see how they're going to be able to stop it. You know, because some people come to the professionals, the pro leagues already with these gambling habits. They might have developed this in college, you know, and then by the time they get to the professional levels, they have a gambling habit. So it's going to be hard, next to impossible, to stop stuff like this from happening from time to time. But what's going to happen is people are going to lose lose all their money and their freedom behind this. That's going to deter some of it, you know. And so that's my take on it. But I don't think this is going to be the last of it. Like a lot of people say, I think that the NFL is going to be next. You hate to see it, but you know, when it comes to messing with people's money, they take this kind of, you know, they take this very serious. And you messing with the league money and the league integrity, and that's what it boiled down to: money. You know, you can't stop gambling, but you can, you know, you can deter it a little bit as far as like the illegal gambling. So that's my take on it. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video.